On my wedding day, I received a text from an unknown number. He's only marrying you because your profile resembles his dead first love. The light from the screen stung my eyes. The wedding march was playing. The officiant's voice, full of emotion, intoned, Ms. Aurora Shen, do you take Mr. Kevin Gu to be your lawfully wedded husband, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health? Hundreds of guests sat in the audience, my parents, his parents, all beaming. My best friend, Lauren, my maid of honor, stood beside me, her eyes red with emotion. Kevin, in a sharp, custom-tailored suit, stood opposite me, his head slightly bowed as he looked at me. His eyes were deep, a gentle smile on his lips, as focused as he had been 1,000 times before, as if I were the only person in the world. I used to drown in that gaze. I used to think I was the luckiest woman in the world, but now, looking at the words on the screen, each one a poison needle, they pierced my heart. Ms. Aurora Shen, the officiant prompted again, a hint of polite confusion in his voice. Kevin also noticed something was wrong. He frowned, a barely perceptible movement, and whispered, his voice soothing, Aurora, what's wrong? Are you nervous? He reached out to brush a stray hair from my temple, a natural, intimate gesture, one of his signatures. I used to love those little gestures. I used to think they were a special kind of tenderness, reserved only for me. I took a sharp step back, avoiding his hand. My high heels made a jarring screech on the polished floor. The sudden movement made my veil sway. A gasp went through the crowd. Everyone froze. A mixture of shock, confusion, and morbid curiosity was now focused on me. Kevin's hand froze in midair, the gentle smile on his face replaced by a look of utter bewilderment. Aurora, his father, Mr. Grayson, in the front row, his face had already darkened. My mother was frantically signaling me, mouthing, Aurora, what are you doing? I didn't look at them. My gaze, over Kevin's shoulder, was fixed on my maid of honor's face. The emotion and blush had not yet faded, but in the depths of her eyes, a flicker of panic, not quite hidden. It was subtle, but enough for me to catch. Just a moment ago, before the ceremony, she was the only one who had touched my phone. She had said my makeup was a little smudged and had offered to fix it, casually putting my phone in her small clutch. Then, she had accidentally dropped the clutch, and its contents had spilled all over the floor. She had frantically gathered everything, and then found my phone and returned it to me. That's when the text had been sent. Perfectly timed. I stared at Lauren and smirked. So this was her game, my dear best friend, Aurora. Kevin's voice hardened, with an undeniable air of authority. Don't make a scene. Everyone is watching. He reached for me again, this time with a hint of force. In the past, that would have been enough to make me yield, but not today. I dodged him again, my movements sharp and clean. Then, under the gaze of hundreds of eyes, I raised my hand, without hesitation. Smack. A crisp, loud slap landed on his handsome, and now, shocked, face, dead silence. You could have heard a pin drop. The wedding march, oblivious, continued to play. I shook my hand, which was a little numb, and, to the stunned officiant and the dumbfounded guests, I said, my voice not loud, but clear, whoever wants to marry him, can, out. I tore the white veil from my head and threw it to the ground. The pristine veil, now stained with dust, looked like a discarded rag. I walked away, in the Jimmy Choo heels I had bought specifically for this wedding, the ones that were giving me blisters. Behind me, the silence exploded. Then came the furious roar of his father. Aurora Shen, you get back here. Kevin's voice, full of a disbelieving rage. Aurora Shen, are you crazy? My mother's tearful scream. Aurora, my dear, what are you doing? And Lauren's fake, tearful gasp. Kevin, your face. Aurora, you've misunderstood. Come back and explain. So noisy. I ignored them all, lifting my heavy skirt, my back straight. I walked down the long, rose-petal-strewn aisle, as if walking out of an absurd dream. My heels crushed the delicate rose petals, their juice staining the tips of my shoes red. As I walked out of the hotel's grand, cold doors, the early summer evening breeze, a little warm, hit my face. I took a deep breath. The air didn't smell of champagne roses, nor of the cool, woody scent of his cologne, just car exhaust, so real, it made you want to cry. My phone buzzed again, the same unknown number. This time, it was a photo, an old photo, the pixels blurry. The background was a tree-lined path on a university campus. A girl in a white dress, her side to the camera, was bending down to tie her shoelace. Her long hair was like a waterfall, the lines of her profile delicate and soft. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, dappling her, making her look as beautiful as a painting. Under the photo was a sentence. Luna, Kevin's first love, died in a car accident 3 years ago. Look at her profile, then look at yourself in the mirror. Aurora Shen, you're just a cheap substitute. My hand was shaking so much I could barely hold the phone. My stomach churned. No wonder. No wonder he had been so clumsy as to spill champagne when he had first seen me at the art exhibition. No wonder he always loved to watch me when I was reading with my head down. No wonder he always said I looked best in white. No wonder, when he was drunk, he would unconsciously caress my face, his gaze empty as he looked into the distance, murmuring something incomprehensible. Lou. At the time, I had foolishly thought he was calling me Aurora. My heart felt as if it were being squeezed by a cold, merciless hand, the pain so intense I could barely breathe. A cheap substitute. Those 5 words were like a brand, seared into my soul. I leaned against the cold wall, retching, but nothing came out, only tears, which flowed, unbidden, not for him, for myself, for the 3 years of my sincere, foolish heart. A black Mercedes S-Class silently pulled up in front of me, the window rolled down. Old John, my father's driver, his face as stoic as ever, looked at me with a hint of concern. Miss, your father and mother have asked me to take you home. Old John had watched me grow up. I wiped my face, opened the door, and got in. To Whispering Waves, I said, my voice hoarse. Whispering Waves was our marital home, or rather, the luxury mansion he had bought as our new home. It was in my name, a gesture of sincerity outside the prenuptial agreement. Old John looked at me in the rearview mirror, hesitating, then started the car. The car pulled away from the hotel, leaving the chaos behind. My phone started to vibrate frantically. His name flashed on the screen. I turned it off. The world was quiet. Whispering Waves was in an exclusive, gated community. The fingerprint scanner recognized me, and the heavy door opened with a soft click. A huge crystal chandelier cast a cold light. The living room was so empty you could hear an echo. Everything here, from the furniture to the smallest trinket, had been chosen by him. He had said he wanted to give me a perfect home. Now, it looked like a perfectly decorated altar, a shrine to his first love. And I was the self-important sacrifice. I went straight to the second-floor study. He had a habit of keeping a hard copy of all his important documents. He was meticulous, almost to the point of being obsessive-compulsive. I pulled open the bottom drawer of his desk, the one with the combination lock. The combination. I tried my birthday. Wrong. I tried our anniversary. Wrong. I stared at the cold, numerical keypad. The name from the text message flashed in my mind. Luna. I entered her birthday. I only knew her name, not her birthday, but my fingers, as if with a mind of their own, keyed in a set of numbers. When he was drunk, he had, more than once, caressed my face and unconsciously murmured a set of numbers, like a special date. At the time, I had thought it was one of our dates and had been secretly pleased. Click. A soft sound. The lock opened. Inside, files were neatly arranged. One of them, a beige hardcover folder, was labeled Moon. The handwriting was his, sharp and strong. I pulled it out, my fingers cold. I opened it. A thick stack of photos, all of her, front, side, smiling, pensive, in the sun, in the shade, all angles, all expressions, infinitely clearer than the one sent by the unknown number. Under the photos was a stack of printed A4 paper, her detailed information, date of birth, family background, education, hobbies, even her medical records. It turned out she had always been in poor health, with a congenital heart defect. The last page was a document from a charitable foundation under his company, continuously funding a research project on a certain heart disease. The funding had started 3 years ago, the time of her death. At the end of the document was his flamboyant signature. The date was just a month after we had started dating. So, after he had gotten together with me, he had continued to express his deep affection for another woman in this way. In a corner of the drawer was a small, dark blue velvet box. I recognized it. It was the ring box he had used when he proposed. At that time, it had held a large, pear-shaped diamond ring, which he had said was custom-made for me. I opened the box with trembling hands. Inside lay a ring. The style was old, a platinum band, with a circle of small, delicate diamonds surrounding a small, teardrop-shaped sapphire. It was delicate and gentle, clearly an old design, definitely not the one he had proposed with. At the bottom of the box was a small note, in his familiar handwriting. Moon, happy 18th birthday. May my girl be like the stars, like the moonlight. Kevin. The date was 8 years ago. 18th birthday. Her 18th birthday present. He had kept it all this time, in this locked drawer, with his so-called important documents. So, Every time he opened this drawer to deal with business, he would see this ring. He would see his undying love for another woman, forever 18, and my priceless, custom-made wedding ring was probably just tossed in some safe. With all the cold, hard contracts, the churning in my stomach returned. I rushed to the bathroom and threw up, my body racked with heaves. Tears and snot streamed down my face. In the end, all that was left was the bitter taste of bile. I pushed myself up from the cold floor and looked at the pathetic woman in the mirror, pale, her makeup a mess, her hair in disarray, her expensive custom-made wedding dress stained with the juice of the roses I had crushed, like a broken doll, played with and then discarded. Was this Aurora Shin? Was this the one and only, the one who lit up his life? How fucking ironic. I turned on the faucet, and the cold water on my face made me shiver. It also cleared my head a little. A substitute. Flip the table. Just flipping the table wasn't enough. I would burn the table, along with all the fake affection and disgusting schemes on it, to ashes. I turned on my phone. A flood of missed calls and messages. From him, my mom, my dad, Lauren, and a bunch of unknown numbers. His messages had gone from angry demands Aurora Shin, "You'd better explain yourself right now," to threats, "Do you know what you're doing? Come back immediately, or you'll face the consequences," and finally, to his usual, deceptive, gentle trap, "Aurora, I know you're angry, come back, let's talk, I'll explain." That text was a malicious attempt to ruin our wedding. "You've been tricked. Listen to me. Stop this nonsense. I'm waiting for you at home. Explain." I stared at the last message. "I'm waiting for you at home," and sneered. Home, this cage, filled with the shadow of another woman. I ignored all his messages. I opened Lauren's. "Aurora, you scared me to death. Where are you? Are you safe? Tell me where you are. I'll come and get you. Kevin is going crazy. His face is swollen, but he said he doesn't blame you. As long as you come back." "Aurora, did someone say something to you?" "Don't believe them. We all know how much he loves you. That text must be fake. Answer your phone. I'm so worried." Every word was full of sincere concern. What a good, caring best friend. I emotionlessly typed a reply. "Lauren, whispering waves. Now, come alone. Sent." Then, I called my father. The call connected almost instantly. My father, Mr. Shin's booming voice came through. "Aurora Shin, you brat, what are you playing at? In front of hundreds of people, you've disgraced the Gu family, and you've disgraced me." "You, Dad," I interrupted, my voice calm. "The deed to the Whispering Waves house, is it in your safe?" His yelling stopped. He was stunned for a moment. Yes, it is." "What about it?" "It's your prenuptial property from him. I'm keeping it safe for you." "Good." I took a deep breath. "Dad, I need you to do two things for me. First, right now, immediately, contact Mr. Davies, our family's longtime lawyer. Take the original deed, go to the property bureau, and list the Whispering Waves house for sale, at the lowest market price, a quick sale. Second, freeze all my accounts that have any financial ties to him, including the car he gave me and the secondary card he opened for me. Freeze everything." My father was completely dumbfounded. "Daughter, are you serious? You're not just throwing a tantrum. This house is in such a good location. He paid a lot for it." "Dad," I said, my voice firm, with an undeniable finality, "no matter how much he paid, it can't buy back the 3 years of my dignity he trampled on. Do as I say. Now, immediately." There was a moment of silence on the other end. Then I heard my father take a sharp breath, his voice low and filled with a familiar, protective ferocity. "Fine, I understand. You dare to bully my daughter. I don't care if you're the king of the world or some Grayson. Daughter, you just wait. I'll take care of it. I'll protect you." "Thanks, Dad." My nose tingled, but I held back the tears. After hanging up, I felt a little more at ease. My father, though he seemed a bit rough around the edges, was incredibly effective when it came to protecting his own. After dealing with my father, I called my mother. My mother, Mrs. Shin's voice was tearful, but more than that, it was worried. "Aurora, my baby, what's wrong? Did he bully you? You tell me, I'll stand up for you. Don't be afraid." "Mom," I said, my voice soft but firm, "I'm fine. Listen to me. Right now, go to my room and get the small, locked, purple sandalwood box from my bedside table. The key is in the top right drawer of my desk, wrapped in a blue velvet cloth. In that box was a copy of the supplementary clause to the prenuptial agreement he had signed. It stipulated that if the marriage broke down due to his fault, including, but not limited to, infidelity, domestic violence, etc., He would voluntarily relinquish his share of our joint assets and pay me an exorbitant sum in emotional damages. At the time, he had been so affectionate and helpless, saying it was his father's idea. A test of my sincerity, he had held me and whispered, "Silly girl, what does it matter if you sign it? I will never give you a chance to use it." I had believed him. Now, it seemed that was the only thing he hadn't lied about. This agreement was my nuclear weapon. Mom, once you find the box, take a picture of the agreement inside, hide the original, send me the picture, and then, you and Dad, don't talk to anyone, especially not anyone from his family, or Lauren, not a single word. Though she was still sniffling, she heard the clarity in my voice and calmed down. Okay, I know, I'll do it right now, daughter, you have to be okay. I'm so worried. I'm fine, Mom, better than ever. I looked at the cold, sharp-eyed woman in the mirror. The show is just beginning. Half an hour later, Lauren burst into whispering waves. Out of breath, she was still in her elegant maid-of-honor makeup, but the panic and guilt in her eyes were impossible to hide. Aurora, she saw me sitting on the huge sofa in the living room, still in my soiled wedding dress, and rushed over, tears streaming down her face. You scared me to death. Where did you go? You didn't answer your phone. Kevin, you sent the text, didn't you? I interrupted, my voice flat. It wasn't a question, it was a statement. Her expression froze. The tears were still on her eyelashes, hesitating to fall. Her eyes darted around, avoiding my gaze. Oh, Aurora, what are you talking about? What text? I don't understand. Before the wedding, you were the only one who touched my phone, I said, looking at her as if she were a clown. Lauren, how long have we known each other? 10 years. When you lie, your left index finger subconsciously picks at your right palm. Have you gotten rid of that habit? As if burned, she quickly pulled her hand back and clenched it into a fist. Her face was completely white. She stammered, still trying to deny it. Luna, I said her name. She jerked her head up, her pupils constricting, a look of pure shock and fear in her eyes. How did you know about her? She stammered. How I know is not important. I stood up and walked towards her. The train of my wedding dress rustled on the floor. In the vast, silent mansion, the sound was unnervingly clear. What's important is, why did you choose today, and this way, to tell me? She was cornered, her back against the cold wall. She looked at me, her eyes a complex mix of fear, resentment, and a hint of a desperate, cornered madness. Why? She let out a twisted laugh, her voice shrill. Because I'm sick of it, Aurora Shen. I'm sick of watching you be a fool, kept in the dark. I'm sick of seeing you, with a face so much like hers, enjoying everything she should have had. The person he loves has never been you. It's her. It's the Luna who died 3 years ago. Who do you think you are, Aurora Shen? You're just a lucky fake with a similar profile. All his kindness, all his gentleness, it's all because he's looking at her through you. Do you know that? Even the perfume you use is her favorite. Every time he looks at you, he's thinking of someone else. Don't you find that disgusting? Don't you find that pathetic? She screamed, as if to vent years of pent-up resentment. I just listened. My face was blank. When she was done, panting, I finally spoke, my voice chillingly calm. So, Lauren, what noble purpose did you have in telling me all this? Were you standing up for me? Or, I took a step closer, staring at her flushed face, because you also like him, for many years, but you could only watch as he married a fake, as if I had just exposed her deepest, darkest secret. She trembled violently. The resentment in her eyes was instantly replaced by panic. You're talking nonsense, she denied, but her voice lacked conviction. Whether I'm talking nonsense or not, you know in your heart, I sneered. In college, the way you looked at him, the pictures you secretly took of him, you think I didn't know? You deliberately befriended me because I was his girlfriend, didn't you? You wanted to get closer to him through me, but what a shame. I shook my head, my tone a cruel pity. You, Lauren, are not even qualified to be a substitute. In his eyes, there is only his first love, living or dead. You are not in the picture. Shut up, Aurora Shen. You shut up, she screamed, lunging at me like a wild animal, her long nails aimed at my face. I was prepared. I stepped aside and stuck out my foot. She tripped on the train of my dress and then on my foot, lost her balance, and fell to the ground with a shriek. She lay there, a pathetic heap on the carpet, her perfectly coiffed hair in a mess, her expensive bridesmaid dress torn. I looked down at her as if she were a pile of trash. Lauren, don't mess with me again. My voice was as cold as ice. Today's events, including the text, I can let it go for now. but only if you keep your mouth shut, if you dare to spread any rumors, or if you dare to help him against me." I crouched down and whispered in her ear, each word clear and precise. "I will send the evidence of you embezzling company funds to pay off your gambling-addicted brother's debts to your boss, and I'll also send a copy to him. What do you think he would think if he knew his kind and innocent junior had been up to so much behind his back?" She froze, her body rigid. She looked up at me in disbelief, her face as white as a sheet, her lips trembling, unable to say a word. Only pure terror remained in her eyes. "Now." I stood up and dusted off my hands. "Get out." She practically scrambled out of Whispering Waves. The door closed. The world was quiet again. I collapsed onto the sofa, my strength gone. The bravado I had put on was gone, and I was trembling. My phone vibrated. A picture from my mother. A copy of the supplementary clause to the prenuptial agreement, in black and white, his flamboyant signature, clear and distinct. My nuclear weapon was in my hands. Then, my father's call came. "Daughter, the house is listed." Old Zhang handled it himself, at the lowest price for a quick sale. As soon as the news got out, the agents' phones were ringing off the hook. They all said it was a steal. My father's voice was a mixture of excitement and ferocity. "The accounts are all frozen, just as you said. His secondary card, it's useless now. And the car he gave you, I've had it locked up in our garage. I have the key." "Well done, Dad." I managed a smile. "By the way," my father's tone hardened, "that little brat called me." His tone was so arrogant, saying you were being unreasonable, that you should go back and apologize immediately, or you'd face the consequences. "Humph." I told him off. "Let him come to me if he has a problem." And his father, that old fox, also called to show his concern. He was all threats, saying that a little tiff between young people shouldn't affect the business partnership, that I should talk some sense into you. "Pa, do they think we're pushovers?" "Daughter, don't be afraid, I've got your back. The sky won't fall." "Yes, I know." A warmth spread through my heart. "Dad, you and Mom be careful these next few days. Don't let them bother you. I'll handle things here. Don't worry, I've seen it all," he assured me. Just as I hung up, the doorbell rang. An urgent, insistent ringing. I looked at the video intercom. Outside stood Kevin. He had changed out of his wedding suit and was in a dark casual outfit, his face a thundercloud. The red mark from my slap was still visible on his left cheek. Behind him were two tall, imposing men in black suits with earpieces. Clearly, he was not here to be friendly. I smoothed my messy hair and my wedding dress and took a deep breath. What had to come, would come. I pressed the button to open the door. The heavy, ornate door slowly swung open. Kevin strode in, bringing a palpable tension with him. The two security guards followed, blocking the doorway like two sentinels. His sharp gaze swept across the living room, and when he saw me, still in my soiled wedding dress, sitting pathetically on the sofa, his eyes grew even darker. "Aurora Shen," he began, his voice laced with ice, "are you done with your tantrum?" I looked up at him, silent. "Come back with me," he commanded, with his usual arrogance. "The wedding is not over. The guests are still there. Go back, and we'll finish the ceremony. I can pretend that what happened just now never happened. Pretend it never happened." I let out a sharp, derisive laugh. "Kevin, what is your face made of?" "The corner of a city wall, reinforced with titanium alloy." His face instantly turned ashen. He had probably never been spoken to like that in his life. "Aurora Shen." He took a step closer, his tall frame casting a menacing shadow. "I'll say it again. Come back with me. Don't force me to get rough." The two security guards behind him also took a step forward. The threat was clear. "Get rough." I raised an eyebrow, meeting his cold gaze without a trace of fear. "What? Are you planning to have your security guards tie me up and force me to bow? Or are you going to get rough with me here?" I pointed to the inconspicuous camera in the corner of the living room. "Forgot to tell you, this house is covered in cameras, 360-degree, high definition, with audio. If you want to provide some material for tomorrow's headlines, feel free. I've even thought of a few for you. Grace and Heir's wedding goes awry. Enraged groom orders security to assault ex-fiancée, or high society scandal. Substitute bride rejects marriage. Groom resorts to violence. Which one do you think is more explosive?" His fists clenched, the veins on the back of his hands bulging. He glared at me, his eyes like daggers, as if he wanted to skin me alive. "What do you want?" he squeezed out through gritted teeth. "What do I want?" I stood up and walked to him, looking up at his face. This face, which had once captivated me, was now just a mask of disgusting hypocrisy. "Kevin, that's a question I should be asking you. You schemed to get close to me. You played the part of a devoted lover for 3 years. You treated me as a shadow of another woman. You coddled me and lied to me. And now that the show is over, that your cover is blown, you're not even thinking of begging for my forgiveness. Instead, you're bringing men to threaten me, to force me to go back and continue your little play. Do you really think that I, Aurora Shen, am a fool, that I deserve to be played with like a toy? My voice was not loud, but each word was a heavy blow in the empty living room. His expression changed again and again: anger, shame, and a hint of a desperate, cornered panic. That text was fake. Someone was deliberately trying to provoke us. He was still trying to deny it, but his voice lacked its earlier conviction. Aurora, my feelings for you are real. Luna, I interrupted, clearly enunciating the name. He froze, as if a pause button had been pressed. All his words were stuck in his throat. His pupils contracted, and the color drained from his face. His expression was even more priceless than when I had slapped him. You, his Adam's apple bobbed. He looked at me with a mixture of shock and a hint of fear. How I know, does it matter? I sneered, picking up the beige folder from the coffee table and waving it in front of him. What matters is this, Kevin, the treasure in your study drawer. The combination is her birthday, right? When he saw the folder, his face changed completely. He instinctively reached for it. I was prepared. I took a sharp step back and held the folder tightly. Don't touch me, I said sharply. His hand froze in midair. Kevin, I said, watching his face turn ashen, each word a final, decisive blow. We are over. Now, take your men and get out of my house. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind providing this deep affection and all the information on your first love to the media, or to your father's business rivals. I'm sure they would be very interested in the secret love story of the Grayson heir. His body swayed. He stared at me, his expression shifting from shock and anger to a deep, bottomless coldness and a hint of a murderous intent. Aurora Shen. His voice was low and hoarse, with a chilling coldness. You are playing with fire. Playing with fire. I met his gaze without flinching. Kevin, from the moment you treated me as a substitute, this fire was already lit. Now, I'm just fanning the flames. Let's see who gets burned in the end. We stood in a silent standoff. The air was thick with tension. The two security guards behind him seemed to sense the hostility and tensed up. After a long time, he closed his eyes. When he opened them again, the raging emotions had been suppressed, leaving only a cold, bottomless chill. Very good, he smirked, a humorless smile on his lips. Aurora Shen, I have truly underestimated you. Well, see, with that, he didn't look at me again. He turned, a dark aura around him, and strode out. The two security guards followed. The door slammed shut with a loud bang. The crystal chandelier trembled. I collapsed onto the sofa, my strength gone. My back was soaked with a cold sweat. I knew this was just the beginning. The war with him had just begun. He would not give up so easily, and neither would his family. For the next few days, I locked myself in whispering waves. My phone was off. I cut off all contact with the outside world, except for a daily encrypted message from my father, letting me know he was okay. I knew that outside, all hell had broken loose. The news of me publicly rejecting and slapping him at the wedding would not be contained. The high society circle was small. A small ripple could create a huge wave, especially when it came to such a sensational cuckolding of the Grayson heir. Although I was the one who had been cuckolded, but public opinion is never on the side of the truth, especially when one side is the powerful Grayson family. My father was under immense pressure, from his family, from friends in the business world, a constant barrage of pressure, threats, and bribes. His phone was ringing off the hook. His company was also affected. Several deals that were almost closed were inexplicably called off. On the phone he had called me from a new number. He didn't mention any of this. He just said, "Daughter, don't worry, I'm tough. I can handle it. A lot of people are asking about the house. There's a buyer who's very eager. The price is a little lower than the market value, but I think we should take it. We need the cash now." I knew he was trying to liquidate the assets as quickly as possible to give me a way out. That prenuptial agreement was my trump card. I contacted Mr. Davies and sent him a picture of the agreement. After reading it, he gasped, "Miss Shen, this agreement is very favorable to you, as long as we can prove that Mr. Gu was at fault, especially with this kind of emotional deception, using you as a substitute for another person, which constitutes severe emotional distress. Combined with the terms of this agreement, we can not only protect your existing prenuptial assets but also demand a huge amount in compensation." Proof, I sneered. The treasures in his study drawer, are they not enough? Mr. Davies was energized. The physical evidence is crucial. Those photos and documents are powerful proof of his subjective deception. And what happened at your wedding? As for witnesses, although the guests might not dare to testify due to the Grayson family's pressure, the person who sent you the text, if we can persuade her, Lauren. I shook my head. She won't come forward. She'd love to see both of us go down, but she's not entirely useless. I had Mr. Davies immediately start preparing the lawsuit. In the meantime, I was not idle. I started to erase all traces of him from the house, his clothes, his belongings, all the expensive decorations, all packed up and thrown into the storage room, out of sight, out of mind. While I was cleaning out the study, I found a small external hard drive behind an inconspicuous safe. It was very well hidden. My intuition told me it was important. I found a tech-savvy friend absolutely reliable to help me crack the password remotely. The contents made me gasp. It wasn't pictures of her. It was the core financial data of several of his company's major projects, and some hidden, clearly irregular, related party transactions, and even scanned copies of several dual contracts involving tax evasion. He was doing this in his company. Did his father know? This hard drive was like a ticking time bomb. It was infinitely more powerful than the pictures of her. I carefully copied the hard drive and put the original back where I had found it. With this bomb in my hand, I felt a little more secure, but I knew his counterattack could come at any time. Sure enough, on the 5th day after I had rejected him, an explosive piece of news suddenly appeared on the local trending topics. High society bride cheats before wedding, rejects and slaps groom at the altar. The accompanying photos were extremely sensational. The first was a picture of me, 3 days before the wedding, driving alone to a quiet cafe. In the photo, a man, his face obscured, sat opposite me. Only a blurry profile and his long fingers were visible. We seemed to be talking, and I had a faint smile on my face. The second was even more conclusive. It was a picture of me, on the day of the wedding, at the back entrance of the hotel, struggling with a man in a hotel staff uniform, his face hidden by a cap. The angle was so deceptive. It looked like I was desperately trying to give him something. In reality, I had dropped my bouquet, and he was just picking it up for me. The third was a snapshot of me slapping him. My face was contorted in a snarl due to the angle, while his was a mask of shock and humiliation. The news report was vivid and inflammatory. The gist of it was, Aurora Shen, the daughter of the Shen family, had been having an affair with a mysterious man. On the day of her wedding, perhaps because the affair was exposed or the price was not right, she had had a dispute with her lover disguised as a hotel staff member, which had been discovered by the groom. Kevin, the bride, in a fit of rage, had called off the wedding and slapped the groom. The Grayson heir, his deep love unrequited, had been publicly humiliated. The source was a newly registered marketing account, but the story spread like wildfire. Clearly, someone was pulling the strings. The comments section exploded. Damn, the biggest scandal of the year. This woman is so shameless. I feel so bad for him. He's so handsome and rich. How did he end up with such a tramp? You can't judge a book by its cover. She looks so innocent, but she's a total slut. How did the Shen family raise such a daughter? How dare they try to marry her into the Grayson family? It must have been about the money. The lover came to make a scene. The language was vile and obscene. My phone and new number was instantly flooded with abusive calls and messages from unknown numbers. Someone had even doxed my parents and was attacking them online. My father's company website was also being spammed. His move was vicious and cruel. It had directly branded me a slut. He had used the most despicable method to shift the focus from the substitute and had painted himself as the perfect victim. Public opinion had completely turned in his favor. I sat at my computer, looking at the malicious comments, my fingers cold. When the anger reached its peak, I became strangely calm. Kevin, you want to play? I'll play. I logged into a private social media account I hadn't used in a long time, one that only a few close friends knew about. This account was a safe space I had used in college to record my thoughts. I had posted many random things. One of them was from 3 years ago, not long after we had first met. It was the first time he had taken me to an art exhibition. He had spilled champagne and stained my white dress. I had been so embarrassed. He had commented on that post, "I'm sorry, when I saw you looking down to fix your dress, it reminded me of an old friend." I lost my composure. At the time, I hadn't thought much of it and had foolishly replied, "It's okay. To be remembered by you is an honor for that old friend." This unremarkable interaction was buried among hundreds of other posts, but now, it was the first dagger to pierce his hypocritical mask. I took a full screenshot of that post including his comment, my reply, and the timestamp. Then, I found the file from the external hard drive. The one about his charitable foundation continuously funding the heart disease research with the key information redacted, leaving only the foundation's name, the project name XX Heart Disease Special Research Fund, and his signature and the date. The date was also 3 years ago, when we had just started dating. Finally, I found the original text message from Lauren. The number and content were clear, and a few photos of her gambling-addicted brother at an overseas casino. His gambling debts staggering the background and the casino's logo were clearly visible. After I had all this, I opened my social media. Using that long-dormant private account, I wrote a long post. The title was simple: about cheating before the wedding and that slap. The content: hello, everyone, I am Aurora Shin. The cheating before the wedding slapped the groom high society bride. I'm sorry to take up public resources, but some things must be clarified. 1. Regarding the cheating photos. In the first picture, the man in the cafe is my psychologist. I was suffering from pre-wedding anxiety and sought professional help. This is legal and proper. In the second picture, the hotel staff member was just helping me pick up my dropped bouquet. The hotel's security footage can prove this. I have already submitted it to the police and my lawyer. To the malicious rumormongers, I'll see you in court. 2. Regarding the slap. The reason is in the third picture attached is a screenshot of his reminded me of an old friend comment from 3 years ago. And the fourth picture attached is a screenshot of his charitable foundation's funding document for the Heart Project, with his signature and the date clearly visible. He married me only because my profile resembles his dead first love. Miss Luna, 3 years of deep affection. All a lie. I found out the truth on my wedding day and lost control. I hit him, I admit it. I should have hit him. And I did. 3. Regarding the tip-off. The fifth picture attached is a screenshot of the original text message from Lauren. The sender is my best friend of 10 years, Miss Lauren. Her motive. The sixth picture attached are photos of her brother at an overseas casino. Miss Lauren, have you cleaned up the mess of your brother's gambling debts, which you paid for with embezzled company funds? Finally, Mr. Kevin, using the charity that was meant to treat your first love's illness to show your deep affection for a substitute. That deep affection is truly ironic, hiring a water army to slander me, trying to crush me with public opinion. I'm sorry. The table has been flipped. No one is getting out of this clean. I'm not playing the part of a substitute anymore. See you in court. I finished editing. I checked my wording. No emotional language, just a statement of facts, logical, with a complete chain of evidence. Click. Sent. The moment the long post was sent, I turned off my computer. The world was quiet. I knew what a storm would be brewing outside. I didn't need to see it. I just had to wait. Wait for the right people to come. Wait for my nuclear weapon to make its glorious debut. The first to break was Lauren. Not even half an hour after my post went live, her call came. I hadn't given her my new number. She was calling my old one, which I had forwarded. Her voice was shrill, almost breaking, full of fear and despair. Aurora Shin, are you crazy? Why did you expose my brother? Where did you get those pictures? Are you trying to kill me? I was wrong. Aurora, I was so wrong. I shouldn't have sent you the text. I was blinded by jealousy. It was him. He hinted at it. He said that if you knew the truth, you would leave him. He said he was tired of being a substitute's lover. He wanted to get rid of you. That's why I— Shut up, I said coldly, cutting off her hysterical sobs. Lauren, I gave you a chance. I told you to keep your mouth shut. Now, it's too late. As for your embezzlement, you can wait for the prosecutor's summons. As for your brother, if he can't pay his gambling debts, and someone breaks his hands and feet, that's his just deserts. Take care. With that, I hung up, ignoring her screams, and blocked her number. The second to lose his cool was Kevin. He came straight to Whispering Waves. This time, he didn't bring security. He was alone. He pounded on the door, as if he were trying to tear the whole building down. Aurora Shin, open the door. You come out and explain yourself. I calmly walked to the door and looked at him through the peephole. His hair was a mess. His eyes were bloodshot, his suit was wrinkled, and he had completely lost his usual elegant composure. He was like a cornered beast. Is there something you need, Mr. Grayson? I said through the door, my voice calm. That social media post, you delete it right now, he roared, his voice hoarse. And those screenshots, what are you trying to do? Ruin me, ruin you. I chuckled. Kevin, you were the one who tried to ruin me first, using such despicable means to slander me. To ruin my reputation. I was just acting in self-defense. Self-defense. He sounded as if he had just heard the world's greatest joke. He slammed his fist on the heavy door. Aurora Shin, do you know what that post means? The company's stock is already plummeting. The old geezers on the board are blowing up my phone. My father is in the hospital. That's your family's problem, I said, unmoved. It has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with you. His voice rose, filled with a crazed hatred. Aurora Shen, you're ruthless. You're cruel. Fine. You want to play. Ill play. You think that little bit of information you have can bring me down. In your dreams. That prenuptial agreement. I can sue you for extortion at any time. Those photos and documents. I can say you stole trade secrets, trespassing, and that hard drive. He suddenly lowered his voice, with a sinister threat. Aurora Shen, I suggest you hand it over. That thing is not for you to touch. If you hold on to it, you might get burned. You might end up dead. The hard drive. He knew, and he was clearly afraid of it. My heart skipped a beat, but my voice was steady. What hard drive? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play dumb. He gritted his teeth. I know what's missing from my study. Aurora Shen, give me the hard drive. Or else what? I interrupted, my tone suddenly cold. Kevin, let me remind you of something. Right now, immediately, get out of my sight. If you dare to harass me again, or if you dare to pull any more stunts online, I guarantee that the contents of that hard drive from behind your safe will be on the desks of the Economic Investigation Team and the Tax Bureau tomorrow. And I'll also make a copy and send it to your father, and to every member of the board. Tell me, who do you think will end up dead first? You or me? Outside the door, dead silence. The pounding stopped. The heavy breathing stopped. Only a suffocating silence. After a full minute, his voice came again, low and hoarse, with a sense of utter defeat and fear. Aurora Shen. He said my name, each word squeezed out through gritted teeth. You win. Tell me, what do you want? Finally. I had been waiting for those words. I opened the door, just a crack. Through the gap, I looked at the pathetic, defeated man outside. It's simple, I said, stating my terms clearly. First, immediately, publicly, on all major platforms, issue a clarification statement, admitting that the cheating news on our wedding day was a malicious fabrication, a slander against me, and publicly apologize to me, and promise to no longer harass, threaten, or attack me or my family in any way. Second, sign the divorce agreement. We got our license, even though the wedding wasn't completed. According to the supplementary clause of the prenuptial agreement, the Whispering Waves property in your name which has already been sold, the proceeds are mine, and the emotional damages stipulated in the agreement, a sum that would make even my father's jaw drop, are to be paid to me in a lump sum. Third, I paused, watching his body tense. I want the Ruweixin Medical Foundation under the Grayson Corporation to double its funding for the Congenital Heart Disease Children's Aid Project for the next 3 years. He jerked his head up and stared at me. You, what? You're not willing to use the shrine you built to commemorate your first love to save more living children. I mocked him. His expression flickered, his fists clenching and unclenching. Finally, he slumped his shoulders, as if his spine had been removed. Okay, he squeezed out, his voice full of humiliation and resentment. I agree. All of your conditions. 3 days later, the Grayson Corporation's official account, as well as Kevin's personal account, simultaneously released a carefully worded, very humble apology and clarification statement. It admitted that the cheating allegations against me were malicious rumors, publicly apologized to me and my family, and promised to cease all forms of harassment and attacks. The moment the statement was released, public opinion reversed again. Although there were still some doubts, the tide had turned. The comments section of my social media, which had been a cesspool of filth, began to see rational voices and supporters. Damn, a huge plot twist. So he was the one with the first love in his heart, using his wife as a substitute, and then slandering her for cheating. This Kevin is so low. I support you, sister. You did the right thing. A scumbag like that deserves a good slap. Doubling the funding for the Ruweixin Foundation. Our sister has a big heart, using a scumbag's money for charity. Well done. At the same time, Mr. Davies brought me 2 signed documents. One was the divorce agreement. The other was a confirmation letter signed by him, relinquishing all rights to the Whispering Waves property and agreeing to pay the compensation as stipulated in the prenuptial agreement, and a copy of the board resolution from the Ruweixin Foundation, regarding the increased funding for the Congenital Heart Disease Children's Aid Project. Miss Shen, he has really taken a huge hit this time, Mr. Davies said, pushing up his glasses, his tone a little wistful. The compensation has been transferred to your designated account as per the agreement. The buyer of Whispering Waves has also paid in full, and the paperwork is done. The company's stock has plummeted these past few days, and the board is very unhappy with him. I hear that after his father was discharged from the hospital, he was summoned to the old house and was severely reprimanded, almost beaten. His position in the group is very precarious. As for Lauren, Mr. Davies paused. Her embezzlement case, the evidence is conclusive. The company has formally filed a lawsuit. Her brother has been detained at an overseas casino. I hear the situation is not good. I listened calmly. My heart was still. You reap what you sow. The hard drive, Mr. Davies asked in a low voice. And him? Don't worry, I said coolly. As long as he and his father behave themselves and don't bother me again, that bomb will remain silent forever. Of course, if they are still up to no good, I smiled, not finishing my sentence. Mr. Davies nodded in understanding. I understand. I will continue to monitor the Grayson Corporation's movements. The dust had settled. My father transferred the money from the house sale and his compensation to me. The long string of zeros after the number made my head spin. This was what I had exchanged for 3 years of my youth and a broken heart, and it was what I had won back with the courage to flip the table. Daughter, what are your plans now? My father asked, his voice full of a relieved lightness. Plans? I looked at the blue sky outside the window. I'll leave here first. Anywhere is fine. Find a place where no one knows me, get some sun, and dry out all the moldy things in my heart. A month later, I was staying at a small and by lake. Life was simple. I would wake up whenever I wanted. I would sunbathe on the terrace, looking at the Tsongshan Mountains and Arai Lake. I would occasionally play frisbee with the innkeeper's border collie. My phone was off most of the time. I only used a new number to occasionally check in with my parents. News of him and her would still occasionally reach me. He had been ordered by his father to take a vacation and had temporarily left the core of the group. The Grayson Corporation was still struggling to deal with the aftermath of the scandal. Lauren's embezzlement case was about to go to trial. Her brother had disappeared from the overseas casino, his fate unknown. None of it had anything to do with me anymore. This afternoon, the sun was particularly beautiful. I was lying on a lounge chair on the terrace, wearing sunglasses, dozing off. The innkeeper's border collie, Wukong, came over with a frisbee, his wet nose nudging my hand. I smiled and ruffled his furry head, took the frisbee, and threw it. Wukong, like a golden flash of lightning, happily chased after it. My phone vibrated. A message from my father, just one sentence. Daughter, the first batch of 7 children with congenital heart disease from the Ruweixin project have all had successful surgeries. It was just on the news. I held my phone. The wind from Arai Lake, carrying the scent of water and sun, blew on my face, warm, like a gentle slap, a soft caress. I took off my sunglasses and squinted at the shimmering lake. The sun was a little bright. I raised my hand to block it. My fingertips, in the sunlight, were almost transparent, so clean.